Today, we are unleashing something awesome in our gym. We got to buy some new equipment that is going to help everybody, and we're super excited about it. We decided to get torque tanks. If you haven't seen these things, they are basically like your weighted sled, except you don't need to break the weights out. You've seen them in the CrossFit games. You've seen them in some rogue events. They are phenomenal for everything that you do with sled training, except they use magnets on the inside of them. We're gonna unbox them and put them together and get them ready to use in our gym. So come along with us. Let's go. This is what was in the box. First, you got your handle, which is actually removable on the Torque Tank MX. And that's one of the reasons we went with the MX. The lower model of the Torque Tanks, these handles aren't easily removable unless you get into that sort of really light Torque Tank. You've got your handle mount, all four wheels, nice rubber. Man, these things, even these are heavy. You've got a bolt bag. Even comes with the Allen keys to build them. Instructions. And last but not least, the tank itself. We did splurge and go for the Torque Tank MX. And there's a reason for that. Anytime that I'm buying equipment for the gym, I try to buy the most overbuilt equipment I possibly can. We bought the Rogue Echo bikes. Fantastic choice. Those things never break. We have Concept 2 rowers, also nearly bulletproof, very low maintenance rowers. And we're going with this Torque Tank because all of my research pointed to them being bulletproof also. And I'm gonna take apart the key element here and show you why I like Torque Tanks over all other tanks. They use magnets for resistance, and there's other tanks on the market that do that as well. You can go to Walmart and find a really cheap one that uses magnets, but their magnets are assembled differently. And the way that Torque puts their magnets in are smart. Now, I think there's some other tanks that do it this way, but we wanted the 4-wheel tank, and we wanted to make it so that our big guys could definitely increase
to the maximum potential
that this tank can offer. So again, this ticked a lot of boxes for us. A, nearly bulletproof. B, the handles come off. C, you can add a massive amount of resistance. And D, they're stackable. So when we're not using them, we can stack them using the torque stackers. And I'll show you what those look like here in a minute. So let's get to building it. But first, I'm gonna take something apart and I'm gonna show you how the magnet creates resistance inside the torque tank, which is crazy because it's a brand new thing, and I'm gonna take it apart just to show you what the insides look like, because I like taking things apart and seeing how they operate. So let's do that. First things first, we gotta take this little handle off because there's just a small hole for it to get through. 10mm wrench, super easy. To loosen it, next, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, got 7 bolts to pull out, and then this cover should come right off. So here's how this thing works. You've got a chain drive that connects this entire shaft to the other wheel. So both of those spin at the same time. That chain is connected to a belt drive that spins this plate. This plate is the key component and why I like the Torgue construction. Some of the cheaper brands I noticed had magnets on the top of the wheel, which were just glued there. This way, Torque avoids gluing the stuff. So look at this, these magnets right here, this is what changes your resistance. So when these magnets slide further and further over the plate, that's what increases the resistance. These magnets prevent this wheel from spinning that goes back up the belt drives and stops the wheels from spinning on the ground. That's how these work. And you can see everything is bolted on. So if one of these gets loose and falls off, no problem. You just get a new bolt, nut, and tighten that thing back up, and you'll be good as gold. So why does the MX have another lever? We actually have 2 sets of magnets that we can engage to increase the resistance on the MX. And this is what I mean by overbuilt. Everything is using a nut and a bolt. There isn't a single thing that is glued onto something here. This just looks bulletproof. I really like the construction here. Let's get back to it. I'm gonna put this chamber together, and then we are going to finish our build and unboxing of this thing. One of the first things that I like to do when I'm building something is just break out all the hardware so that I can clearly see it and I know exactly where it goes. Also, I count it in comparison to what I should have received. This way, when I'm putting things together, I can see exactly how much more I have to do and whether I'm missing anything. And it's just a way for me to keep my workspace organized while I'm building. First things first, wheels go on. They've got this groove in them that line up with a pin on the axle. So how this is going to go together. We got our bolt, lock washer goes on first, washer goes on second, and then it goes into the axle. And they have this behemoth of an Allen key. I'm sure there's larger ones out there, but this is a pretty big Allen key. And it looks like you gotta hold the wheel and spin it to get that sucker tight. Let's get all 4 done. I'm going to be putting on the handle holder, this contraption. You'll notice one of them is loose and the other one's locked in. What you want to do is you want to release this lock and let it flip 180 degrees like that. Don't install it the other way. When you go to install it, this thing is facing out. Got a bolt, get that lock washer on there, and then a flat washer. My Allen key keeps getting stuck and hitting this mount. Little life hack, I'm gonna put it in this way, which gives me less leverage and I can't actually move it. I'm gonna take another wrench, this eye hole, and just lock it on here so that I can get my leverage back. Look at that. Let's get the handles installed. It's pretty easy. They just slide down into those handle holders. All right, we're totally constructed. Like I said, storage was a big reason we got these. And we have these weight mounts that go right here, which allows you to be able to stack them on top of each other when you store them. Got our bolts. Got our horn, and we've got horn mount. It's kind of nice. There's a little rubber coating on this so that when it slides in, it's not just clanking, it's scratching itself up. Need to take all 4 of these out. There's an 18mm nut on the other side. Whatever you do, don't lose the nut and washer from the other side. It doesn't come with any nuts or washers with it. It's just a new bolt for the mount. I've turned it on its side so I can have better access to both sides for the bolt. This guy is gonna go on top, and this guy is going on the bottom like that. Don't forget, take your hardware off your old bolt, transfer it to the new one. That's it. Our torque tank is assembled and I cannot wait for our members to... Oh, I almost forgot. One last thing. I realize these tires have air in them, except they are not pumped up to the right PSI from the factory. So you need to add the air, and that is 30 PSI per tire. So don't forget that before you start using your rig. Actually use this in the gym. It is an absolute beast. This is going to change our training so much. If you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button. I like taking things apart, putting them back together, and bringing new equipment to our gym. So stay tuned and don't forget to live with fitness.